Hi, and welcome to Occupy Ukiah for December 17th, 2012. This is show number 23, and we're here in the studio today with Bill Durham.
Hello, hello.
He's also an Occupy Ukiah member, and he does a radio show on, when's your radio show, Thursday nights?
Thursday nights from 5 to 7 on KMEC, 105.1 here in Ukiah, and we're also streaming on the web at kmecradio.org.
Nice. Well, it's been great working with Bill this last year with Occupy Ukiah, and tonight we're going to be, let's see, what are we going to talk about? Our show today, we'll be talking a little bit about our public forums that are going to be coming up in 2013, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll be also doing a quick update on the Fukushima resolution that I presented to the Board of Directors. We will be talking about Occupy Ukiah distributing flyers at Walmart during the Christmas season. And we will also be showing a Walmart video with a little commentary. We'll talk that. And we're also going to touch briefly on the shooting in Connecticut just this last week. This is Monday the 17th, and that shooting took place just on the previous Friday. So I think we just need to talk about that a little bit. It's on everybody's minds right now. So let's jump right into it. Oh, also we're in the studio tonight with, we've got 3 engineers. We have Alex Bergdahl, who's done all of our previous shows, probably the past several. And he is doing his last show with us for tonight, and he'll be heading back east and back to Wisconsin, and we're really going to miss him, and we want to thank him a lot. And also Scott Morgan is with us, and Tom Davenport, and both of them are going to be taking up our engineer positions here for this coming year. And so we want to thank you guys because it's not easy. And we always appreciate the engineering, even though you're not on camera. You're doing the hard stuff. Okay. Let's talk about our public forum. We got a public forum coming up in January, and we have yet to nail down the date. I'm waiting to hear back from the church, but it looks like it's probably going to be January 27th. From what I hear. And what are we going to be doing that on, Bill?
On the use of herbicides in Mendocino County. So I think it's a real positive thing we're doing, trying to get a sort of a town hall meeting forum going to spread awareness and to talk about what are we going to do about the use of pesticides here in Mendocino.
Right on. And one of the things, we have done some public forums in the past. We did public forums around the Move Your Money Day. We've done a couple of those, and we also did one with Ukiah Aware around our Civil Rights March that we did. And I think that they're a very successful I don't want to say successful. I think it's a forum that we need to. It's a format that we need to try to reinstate in this world. Is civil public discourse. So often we sort of degenerate into name calling and swearing and total intolerance for anybody who's got a different point of view. And so I think it's really important for us to gather together, hear each other's point of view, and actually listen and consider what the other person is saying. And also try to speak intelligently, try not to just attack other people, but try to speak our minds and hearts honestly and see where we can come to agreement, because I think a lot of times the places that we can come to agreement get obscured by us belittling other people who think differently than us.
I think it's also really important that we develop more a sense of community in discussing these issues, or any issue. We tend to sit at home and watch the debate on TV or watch the public debate on TV, if we even do that, instead of participating.
Right.
So I think it's really a positive thing to have this kind of format.
Well, we're looking forward to doing that in 2013, and so Occupy Ukiah is going to be sponsoring several public forums in the next year. And if you have issues that you would like to see brought to a public forum, come and see us and talk to us at our general assemblies that we often, not always, but I'll say usually have at Alex Thomas Park on Saturdays at 10 o'clock. We put up our canopy. And we are small in numbers, and oftentimes our lives get really busy, and so people don't make it out there, and our canopy doesn't go up. But please come and join us and help us to bring out the numbers so that we can put the canopy up and have our public forum, have our our General Assembly, which oftentimes is also a place where people can speak in public and discuss issues that concern us. So if you have any ideas, come to one of our General Assemblies or come to one of our direct action meetings, which presently we've just changed the time to 5:30 on Sundays at the Mendocino Environmental Center at KMEC Studios. They're on Stanley Street, is it?
Yeah. 106 West Stanley Street.
He knows the address. 106 West Stanley, Sundays at 5:30. Come on in, and we operate through consensus with a facilitator. You can take part, you can listen, you can drop in and leave if you like. So we're kind of excited about the public forum. I think it's so important, and I think it's going to be a positive thing for our community. Okay. City Council update. This will be pretty quick. You remember that I took a resolution to the Ukiah City Council this fall. I don't remember when it was. It's been a few months now. And basically, it was a resolution that I'm also a member of Fukushima Response. And this resolution was taken to the Sonoma Democratic County and also the State of California Democratic Party, and both of those Democratic bodies signed on to that resolution, mainly just saying that we encourage our representatives to do everything they can to put pressure on the Japanese government to allow outside help on Fukushima. Fukushima still hasn't gotten any better, and it's not going to. They have a 40-year cleanup plan, which Mr. Yamada seems to think is going to be even longer. And at present, I just recently read on the internet last night that Unit 3 is in the worst condition of all three. It had a full meltdown. It had one of the hydrogen explosions. And there are no plans at present to shore up that building. It's incredibly hot, and so they're just letting it sit there at present. This place, Fukushima, needs an international effort. The Japanese organizations that are running the cleanup need to be gotten out of the way. They're in it for profit. We basically need to be in it to save our asses. So there needs to be a global effort to clean up Fukushima. Japan has to allow that. And basically this resolution that I took to the City Council asked for them to just sign on in support of that concept, and then we would send that resolution to our representatives. And they've done nothing. So I'm going back. I mean, it's not like I'm asking them to spend any money or do anything. All I'm asking for is to sign on to a resolution that says, yes, Japan should allow outside help. And if we can get other municipalities to sign on, maybe we can get some momentum behind this. So I'm going back. The City Council's done nothing. That's the update. Bill, you want to talk about Walmart flyers? We're going to be out at Walmart this week.
Yes, Occupy Ukiah is going to be distributing flyers at Walmart this week and in the coming weeks. We're not going to just focus on the Christmas season, but we're going to have more of an ongoing effort. And the reason why is that we're really trying to get Walmart shoppers to stop and think. Maybe they'll still go in and do their shopping, but hopefully when they get home, they'll read our flyer and start to think about these issues. So yeah, it's going to be ongoing, and so you'll see us out there. If you, well, hopefully not. You won't be driving into Walmart's parking lot, but but nonetheless, we're going to try to raise public consciousness about the kind of corporation that Walmart really is. And basically what we're trying to say is that Walmart is America's biggest welfare queen, and that the only way they are able to pay their employees so little is that the taxpayers pick up the tab. And by that I mean we pay for the food stamps and Medicaid and other public assistance that Walmart's employees not only qualify for, but a lot of them depend on. So we think this is a real important issue. No one should work for a living and make so little that they have to depend on government assistance. We think this is a fundamental issue in our country, around the world really. It's a fundamental issue around the world, a living wage. So this is a very important fight, and we're in it to win it. So yeah, we're going to be handing out flyers, and it'll be ongoing.
Right on. I brought up an image of our flyer here. If you want to take a look at it here on screen, Alex, can we click over to the screen? And we also have a Spanish version of that, which Robin Sunbeam was really good about translating for us. And basically we're talking about the discrepancy in wages, the discrepancy in benefits, the amount that the Walmart Corporation makes, and the amount that they don't pay in taxes, and also, well, actually the amount that that is subsidized. How do I want to say this? Their employees are all eligible, or many of them eligible, for food stamps, public housing, and many government programs. And so we are subsidizing their low prices and their low wages with our tax money. And interestingly enough, even the Walmart employees are subsidizing their own pay, their own low wages with their taxes. So they get a double whammy. I've got a little card here that was passed out to us recently. They're called OcuCards, and they've got some interesting facts on them. Sorry, I sound a bit froggy tonight. I'm dealing with the winter bug that came through. There's perhaps no U.S. corporation that exploits its workers as brutally and effectively as Walmart. Paid an average of $8.81 per hour, hundreds of thousands of Walmart employees, including many full-time workers, live below the poverty line. To keep these underpaid workers vulnerable and compliant, Walmart deploys numerous union-busting tactics and other dirty tricks, such as forcing higher-paid full-time employees to work inconvenient, flexible shifts in order to get them to quit, imposing Darwinian-style policies on the sales floor to reduce workers' morale and pressuring. Some facts. Walmart made $15.4 million in profits in 2011, despite the recession. If Walmart paid all of their 1.4 million U.S. employees an extra $5,000 per year, they would still make over $7 billion in profit. The 6 heirs to the Walmart fortune are together worth $93 billion, which is equal to the net worth of the bottom 41% of the U.S. population combined. And think about that fact right there. nearly half of the U.S. population, if you took all the money combined, they would not equal what 6 people, the heirs to the Walmart fortune, make. Somehow that's just not right. And maybe people have the freedom in this country to make whatever profits they're able to make, but should we then be supplementing their low wages with our taxes? It's just not right. And the Walton family has given only 2.4% of their wealth to charity. By comparison, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Mark Zuckerberg and over 70 other wealthy people have given over 50% of their wealth. Well, I know a lot of that's tax breaks, and they're not total angels, but these people are not out to make this a better world. They are out basically to make them richer people. So we encourage people to not shop there. Basically, for me, Walmart doesn't exist. In years past, there was times where I would go into Walmart because they only had certain things. You couldn't find them anywhere else in Ukiah. And I stopped doing that several years back just because I couldn't stand supporting them, even with a couple bucks. It's a great place to get cheap watches and things like that. But I don't go in there. I just pretend they don't exist.
Well, Charlie, I think another reason it is important for us to oppose Walmart and their policies, their aggressive stance against unionizing, their very, very low wages. Another huge reason to oppose that is that the other, how should I say it, other retailers see Walmart's success as something to follow.
Exactly. I hear you.
And that this Walmart model is being replicated throughout industries across the nation. I work in the construction industry, and a lot of people call Home Depot the Walmart of the construction industry. It's the same sort of setup. I don't really know, but I hope Home Depot takes way better care of its employees than Walmart. But that's only a hope. And in this, what would I call it? A radically capitalist society. This thing about what's not broken, we don't fix it. That
Right.
is so true. And
Yeah.
the Walmart model is working perfectly if you ask the Waltons.
Exactly. Yep. It's working perfectly. And it is a state of our radical capitalism. I just heard tonight that McDonald's is not going to pay any of their employees overtime for working on Christmas or New Year's this year, but they're going to have their stores open. And so they are going to have people volunteer to work on those days. And so basically they say they're not going to force anybody to work on those days. So if a person has the choice to either stay home on Christmas Day with their family and friends and have a day off, or work for their regular wage, what's their choice going to be? Well, there's going to obviously be some kind of pressure for them to work on Christmas.
Well, clearly it's not a choice.
It's not a choice.
It's an economic mandate.
That's right.
That's the only reason you would be in there in the first place.
That's right.
It's like an all-volunteer army. They know it's not really volunteer.
That's right. And McDonald's, since I brought it up, is number 2 right behind Walmart for employees on public assistance. And they and several other fast food and retail corporations in America are following along with that same model. And aside from Walmart, I encourage all of us to not support these places. If McDonald's and Wendy's and some of these places depended on People like me, they would be out of business. I just don't go into those places. I don't support them, and I don't believe in their business tactics. And the government subsidy of the kind of foods that they are serving, there's no reason why Big Mac should cost less per pound than broccoli does. That's only brought to you through government subsidies. So, I mean, how could you possibly buy a big old burger with all those ingredients and have that be cheaper per pound than a head of broccoli? Something's not right there. We need to stop supporting these companies, and so we're focusing on Walmart today.
I think another thing that what you said brought to mind is that these corporations, Walmart, McDonald's, and so forth, they exist in an environment that is not capitalism. They exist in an environment that is a corporate welfare state.
Welfare.
Like you said,
yeah.
How could a Big Mac cost less than a head of, pound for pound, cost less than a head of broccoli?
Right.
It is only through government subsidies. And we must ask ourselves, why would the government, who claims to somehow be concerned about our health,
right,
telling us not to, don't smoke marijuana, this or that.
Yeah.
But yet and still, they will subsidize Big Macs and Whoppers and whatnot to the point where they're actually cheap food. It's actually cheap food. And the economic pressure to save money by eating cheap food is tremendous.
Yep.
And so here our own government is going to sell us down the river for the benefit of these corporations. I tell you, it gets worse and worse. Think about the people that burned to death in Bangladesh.
Yep.
Here are these people making shirts or something for Walmart, and the pressure for them to produce is so great that the managers had locked the workers into the factory.
Well, the workers started escaping down the stairs. They were met by managers, and the managers said, "Go back to your workstations. The fire's under control." And he sent them back to their workstations. That was from somebody who made it out, that said that they were sent back. And the fire was on another floor. I think it was below them, which, seeing as fire burns up, that doesn't make much sense. But that's a bit of a risk, I would say, to send your workers back to work while the building's on fire.
Well, not a risk to who?
Right. Yeah.
I think this, these corporations, like I said, they exist in this environment where they can basically do no wrong.
Right.
Walmart was just recently busted for spending $25 million bribing Indian lawmakers in order to get their tentacles into the retail market in India. And it's kind of funny because if this had happened in the United States, it would have been perfectly legal. We call it lobbying.
Yeah.
In India, it's called bribery. So anyway, Walmart is caught again, and as if they didn't know this was illegal in India. They have no regard for the law whatsoever. And I have to say, I know this is kind of off subject, I'm talking about Walmart, but it is related. The HSBC bank scandal that's been coming out over the last week. Now here's this bank that, one of the biggest banks in the world.
Yep.
They laundered millions of dollars for the Mexican drug cartels. They laundered money, I don't know all the details, they laundered money for some guy that has direct ties to Al-Qaeda.
Yep.
They gave advice to quote-unquote enemy states that are, states that we have economic sanctions against, on how to get around the economic sanctions and get their money into their bank. And they get caught doing all of this, Charlie. And what happens to them? Nothing.
They're still in business.
They're still in business. The people, the executives that made these decisions, that committed these crimes, nothing happens to them. The fine is going to come out. The fine is going to be paid by the shareholders. So even their personal finances will be untouched by this.
And what would happen to you or me if we were to help the Mexican drug cartels or Al Qaeda launder their money?
Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, they would throw us under the bus in a New York minute.
Oh man, we'd be in prison for life. That'd be it.
And this is in a country that imprisons more of its citizens than any other country in the world.
Per capita. Yep.
They give out time like it's lunch in this country.
Yep.
Unless you happen to be really, really rich.
Unless you got the money to get
Then you can break all the laws you wanna. You can help Al Qaeda. What happened to support our troops? Tell me that. What happened to all this support our troops stuff? If we can let the banks aid the enemy, that was one of the crimes that they were charged with, aiding the enemy.
Aiding the enemy.
And last time I checked, don't they hang people for that crap?
Are they going to hang any of these folks? I don't think so.
I think they need to talk to Bradley Manning.
Yeah.
Talk to Bradley Manning about this stuff, about aiding the enemy, if you want to find out what kind of punishment that'll bring down on you.
And how did he get treated?
Yeah. He was tortured for 9 months.
Yeah.
These guys, they're going to get a bonus. They're going to get money.
Well, they paid a fine. I guess it was one of the biggest fines in history, but it's not.
But it's not even their money.
No, and they're not even going to blow a tire. They're going to keep on rolling.
Yes.
It's not going to take anything out of their progress.
And this will only embolden these corporations to continue to break the law.
Yeah.
They don't care, and they're not going to care.
No. And it's the reason that we're occupying. It's the reason that we do this is because the world has gotten so turned upside down that the biggest criminals are running scot-free, and the little criminals who get caught doing little things are in jail for life. And something needs to be done. And so we're out just trying to point the finger in the direction of truth. So that's why we're going to be out leafleting at Walmart. We basically want people to think about what they're doing and what do these wonderful low prices, how is this possible that all the other stores in town are charging these other prices but Walmart's not? How is that possible? Are these other store owners around town just like big wealthy pigs who are just like, really, really screwing us? Think about it. So anyway, we're going to be trying to tell the truth about Walmart in the upcoming weeks. Hopefully we won't see you there. If you are a Walmart shopper, maybe you will take one of our flyers or stop and have a conversation with us. We're going to be showing a Walmart video, but let's change up here really quick and interject just a bit. We want to talk about this shooting in Connecticut. It's what everybody's talking about right now. This is Monday the 17th. It happened on December 14th, on Friday. And I'm sure everybody is overloaded with all the horrible facts that are coming out and the sad videos and pictures of all the children. And we all feel the same about it. But what I'd like to do is see if we can talk a bit, Bill, just for a few minutes about what does this mean as far as guns in our society, as far as mental health in our society, as far as how do we turn our attitude as a society to where these things aren't happening. Just this last weekend, a man I heard on I believe it was on Amy Goodman, attacked children at an elementary school, but he had a knife, and he put a bunch of kids in the hospital, but only 2 of them died. Now, if he'd had an assault weapon, he probably would have put everybody in the grave. So, why don't you, if you want to start us off on this, Bill, we can talk a little bit about the situation of guns and assault weapons.
Yeah, I think first, I'd like to offer my condolences to everybody that may have lost family or friends in this thing. I think it's really, really, I think it's sad that, we're kind of behind. It's like the cat's already out of the bag. The United States is, we have one of the highest gun ownership rates in the world. And they're not about to take these guns back from people. So this is something that we're going to have to deal with. I think the government could probably do some sort of a job in terms of, like cross-referencing, people that really shouldn't own guns so they can't buy them. But I think much more important than that, than the control of guns, is people. And I keep thinking about, man, what was his name that shot the Fort Bragg city council person and
Right.
somebody else?
Right.
Allen.
I don't remember his name.
Okay.
And he shot the 2 forest workers?
Yeah.
That guy.
And then they shot and killed him.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
police did later on.
Yeah.
So, and this guy had a record as long as your arm, and he had done a bunch of stuff that would really let you know. I mean, it was clear the guy needed help.
Needed help.
One of the things he had done, he was arrested for throwing paper airplanes over the wall at the Chinese embassy in San Francisco with these bizarre messages written on the paper airplanes.
Hadn't heard that.
And so people don't get the mental health help that they need. Mental health services are being cut across the country. In Mendocino County, I hear it said that our mental health facility is the county jail. And that's pretty much it. And so we've got to look at it from that point of view, that we've got to really help people. I think it's too late, this thing about taking guns away from people. I think we can kind of maybe mitigate mitigate this in the future, but I really think it's
Right.
kind of, the cat's out of the bag on that one, like I said.
I totally agree with you on the mental health thing. Right now, I know somebody, and my family knows somebody, and that's as close as I will give to who they might be. But we know somebody who has made threats, who has done crazy things, who has had brushes with the law. But any time there are threats made, if you call the sheriff, if a person says, I'm going to start killing people, or you're going to pay for this, or you're going to be sorry, or you're never going to see somebody again, if you call the sheriff and say somebody made this threat, there's nothing they can do about it. You call mental health, there's nothing they can do about it until that person actually acts.
Does something.
On whatever craziness they're going through. And that is because there's no money for mental health anymore. And so, for instance, Jamal Andrews, who was killed here in Redwood Valley year before last. And the trial is just wrapping up, and I don't know if they did sentencing on what's his name who killed him. But before he killed Jamal, there was a brush up with him, a run-in with him, and a neighbor. And if mental health had been notified, perhaps they could have stepped in and done something. all of these people who have shot up the malls and the schools and the politicians and all the crazy people who have done this stuff all have mental problems. They all need help, and there is nothing that can be done in advance if they make crazy threats or just start acting weird. Now, I know that's a slippery slope because we all are a little weird in our own way. And if somebody, you know, raises an eyebrow and says, hey, Charlie's a little weird, I'm going to call mental health, you know, who knows what will happen. But there are definitely some people who should not have guns, who need help. And so I think that we need to invest. It's a matter of priorities in our country. What are we going to spend our money on collectively? Right?
It is a matter of priorities. It is a matter of priorities. And right now, our money is being basically siphoned away to fight foreign wars and to subsidize the very, very, very rich.
That's exactly it.
A friend of mine just last week told me her daughter was at a grocery store. Actually, I would say she was at the gas station in Potter Valley.
Yeah.
And she went in to pay and comes back out, and here's some person that she doesn't know looking in the windows of her car at her, I think, 6-year-old son. And when she approaches the car, this guy tells her that he's going to kidnap her son.
Right.
And she says, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
And he says, yeah, I'm going to kidnap your son, and blah, blah, blah. And so she, of course, instead of taking a hammer out of her car and finishing the guy off, she decided to do the more sane thing, you would think.
Call the cops.
Call the cops. And what do they tell her? Well, the guy didn't really get in the car and touch your kid. Now, okay, she was so traumatized, she threw up and went home and couldn't sleep for a day.
Right.
I mean, couldn't even sleep that night. She was so traumatized. Now, you would think when somebody threatens to commit a violent crime against you, they've committed a crime. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I guess you can. I guess nowadays you can go around and threaten people and tell them, "I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to rape you," and blah 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 blah. And no one can do anything.
That's right, unless you actually act on it.
I don't know.
Things need to be changed.
Words are action. You know, if I tell somebody I am going to beat you up, just the fact that I did that, don't you think that has some that could, just the fact that I scared somebody like that
should have some bearing.
It should have some bearing.
Something should happen. At least somebody ought to visit you, and so that's where we're at. I just wanted to touch on this, and further, I think it is important that we do some that we encourage our legislators to stop with the assault weapons. The public does not need assault weapons. You shouldn't have rocket launchers. You shouldn't have tanks. We shouldn't have aircraft carriers. We don't need hand grenades or any of those things as private citizens. Those things should be in the military's hands, and it should be up to us to tell the military how to use them.
Hey, hold on, Charlie. Hold on, Charlie. I don't think anybody ought to have that stuff.
I understand.
You know, if you're going to take it away, you got to take it away all the way.
Well, can you take it away from the military? I don't know.
Hey, but see, that's the point, because once you get to this thing where it's okay to kill people, then it's okay to kill people. You know, I saw an interview with one of the weathermen from back in the 60s. And one of the things he said that I thought was very profound, he said, Americans have been trained to believe that any violence directed against the state is either insane or criminal.
Right.
And any violence perpetrated by the state, no matter how horrific or horrendous, is okay.
Is patriotic. I understand that. Well, and like I've said many times on this show, I really believe that we do need a military and we do need police, but I don't like the way they're used.
Well, I
and
believe,
that's how it is.
I believe the military and the military and the police do not serve the people. And I don't have anything against the individuals in the military. I believe what it is that it's our system.
Yeah.
It's our system.
Yeah.
The military and the police are there. Their primary function is to maintain the class order in this country.
Exactly. They are to maintain the system, and they are to maintain what has been set as from our society as our priorities. And that's why our priorities are messed up. And that's part of what we're doing in our little tiny Occupy Ukiah group here on our little show, is we're just trying to talk about what is important in this world. Where are our priorities? Are our priorities with big government, big military, big global wars, and using up all the resources for our benefit? Or are the priorities perhaps going to turn, if we want to survive as a people, as a race, are our priorities going to turn towards sustainable living as humans? What is the best for all of us? So maybe we can leave the shooting topic at this point, and we'll revisit some of that stuff later.
I thought we already had, kind of.
We already had. Well, we opened that can of worms, and we're going to try to put the lid on it for now. The worms are still in there. And why don't we go ahead and show our Walmart video. It's pretty quick. And we'll be coming into the closing of the show here pretty quick. But this is a good video. If anybody has any curiosity about who these people are, maybe this will fill in a few facts. So we ready to go? Here we go.
Say,
you shall not steal. Doesn't this teach us that keeping everything for ourselves is a form of stealing? Or are we commanded to help those less fortunate to find enough to eat?
today I want you to know, however, that 5 members of that family together are worth $102 billion. The widow and 4 children have in the last 20 years emerged on the list of the top 10 wealthiest people in the United States. They could easily take 10 billion of that and see to it that every employee of Walmart in the United States has health care, adequate pension, and adequate wages.
Well, Walmart, after the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center and Pentagon, they apparently decided that they needed to have a bunker. There's a facility for the Walton family in case of an apocalyptic attack, a residence that they can live in and reside in case they had to do that. There's a helipad behind the facility back there where they can come in by helicopter, and there's satellite uplink dishes back behind the facility. And most of it is underground, as you can see. You can't really see much from the gate, which is all fortified.
Faith means nothing at all if it does not involve us in loving one another as neighbors, in compassion for the poor.
When you hear these bells at Walmart, do you remember the people they're ringing for? They remind us of our friends and neighbors who could use a little help. That's why at Walmart, we give back. Throughout the holidays and all year long.
worked for Walmart 17 years.
And
I come from a
that's the end of that video. They go straight into another video. So that's just a real quick little video that shows some of the graphics that we've been talking about in our Occupy meetings. Some of those facts are on our flyer. You know, they are talking about when you hear those bells at Walmart, does it make you think of the people who are in need, like the Walmart employees? Which they
Pretty
don't
amazing.
mention.
Pretty
I know.
amazing.
And $5 million the Walmart employees gave to the disaster fund, and the Waltons combined gave $6,000.
Yeah, what can you say, man? Just like that old song by Creedence Clearwater Revival, The Proud Mary, where they say, you know, people on the river are happy to give.
Yeah.
You know, they've done surveys, or what do they call it, where they really analyze giving.
Yeah.
And the poorer people give much more, bigger percentage of their income to charity than the very rich.
That's right.
In fact, the worst are people that make, I can't remember what it was, it's people under 30 that are very, very wealthy, that like make over $100,000 a year. Those are the chintziest people in the country.
Well, all I have to say is there was a lot of finger pointing early on in the Occupy movement that the Occupy people were envious of people who had made a living and made a success of themselves in the world. And I'm just here to say I have no envy for those people who exploit other people, exploit the planet's resources, exploit everything around them just to gain personal wealth. I have no envy for them. That would be an absolute living nightmare for me to wake up every morning and know that I was doing that to people and the planet, and to try to look at myself in the mirror. It's hard enough as it is. Let's us have to deal with that kind of karma. So I really don't envy them. And those people, I'm sorry, they're not wealthy. They are the poorest people in the world. And the people who really, really are wealthy are the people who have family and know how to take care of each other.
Amen.
Woohoo.
Amen.
Well, I think maybe we've finished things up for this show.
I think this
Does
would
that
be
sound good to you?
Yeah, this would be a good time to end.
All right. Well, I usually try to end the shows with a Howard Zinn quote. He's one of my favorites. And so here we go. Let me just make it a little smaller. There we are. Our Howard Zinn quote, which we've read before, but it's always a good one. We don't have to engage in grand, heroic actions to participate in the process of change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. And that's what we're trying to do. We're going to be out at Walmart doing our little small act of passing out our little tiny flyers. And if you feel strongly about something, get out there and do something. Join up with us. Start your own group. Do something. Don't just sit there.
That's right. That's right. Sunday evenings, 5:30 p.m. at the MEC. Come down and meet with the Direct Action Committee. Become a part of the Direct Action Committee of Occupy. 5:30 at the MEC, 106 West Stanley Street. Sunday evenings. Be there.
All right, and Saturdays at 10 o'clock, General Assemblies, Alex Thomas Park during the Farmers Market. All right, well, this is Charlie Vaughan.
And Bill Durham.
Signing off. We'll see you around town.
All right. Power to the people.